say this is one of the times I enjoy doing production, and that is because today we get to see the various technologies scientists or researchers in Ghana are doing to ensure that the country has food security. And today happens to be the open day for iREACH initiative, where the scientists are looking at various varieties of products, varieties of crops that we have in the country, how we can make them resilient in these times where our climate is changing. Well, particularly, I am excited about how the crops that are harvested from our farms are being processed into finished goods. And so today on the food chain, we take a look and also speak with the scientists themselves, the food scientists, how they are putting together the crops harvested from the farms into finished goods. We have the rice cake, the waffles, the yam cakes, the sorghum, whatever you would want to know. Today on the food chain, we are giving it to you right here. My name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku, and it's a pleasure having you on today's episode. Stay with us.
We have what we call the breeder seed, we have the pre-basic seed, we have foundation seed and certified seed. So currently we are working in a project called ProSIVA, which is taking care of the seed system. And efforts are being made to bring these stakeholders on board. Like, we want to form what we call the seed value chain so that things can flow from here to the field. And we are supposed to do more videos and all that so that these things don't remain there. And practically, they should be with the farmers. But then, farming, still people don't understand that farming is a business, So we have to do a lot of work on that. People come to us, the moment you talk about the price, then they go back. But some people who understand So it's also the point of ProSIVA that we'll be able to develop good multiplication procedure so we can produce more, and we also look at how the cost will go down.
They are not genetically modified. They are the same plantain we have in the farmers. So these materials were picked from farmers' field. Okay. Farmers' field, and then we took them through the tissue culture process to get the numbers that we have now.
By looking at the media that was used to grow them at the lab.
So, no, the media is what the plants need at the ground. So you need micronutrients, you need macronutrients, you need vitamins. These are all minerals found in the soil, which we have extracted to kind of like make sure that they have them in the quantity that will make them come faster. That is just the difference. So it gets the quantity and it comes faster, and that is how we are able to get the numbers that we are looking for. But it's just the same nutrients that you apply in the field that the plants pick from the soil. That is there. There's nothing peculiar about it. It's just the same thing. That is how it is.
In session under the legumes and oilseeds division, we have a lot of varieties that we have released. But when a variety is released, it comes with a package, the technology that should come along with. And one of the such technology is what we have done here. This is a soybean variety that we released in 2018. The variety name is called Tundana. We have about 4 varieties here: GD, Enigia, and Nangbari. Tundana is one of the key varieties that currently we are promoting. We all know the importance of soybean these days so far as Ghana's economy is concerned, and it's industrial crop which is in high demand. So we have to make sure that we get its potentials. So we have done a lot of research on it in terms of getting plant population, getting the potential that the variety. So this technology that we are showcasing here is, normally we know that all leguminous crops are hot, nitrogen fixing. So people say leguminous crops, it doesn't need any fertilizer and other things, but that is a myth. It's not always true. When your land has been depleted for some time, when you plant soybean variety, you need to boost it with starter. So when we are about to plant, we introduce what we call rhizobium. After that, we planted them in row. Then 2 weeks after planting, we gave what we call starter, NPK. We make sure that we vary the P. You know, soybean needs P for 8 pod formation, so we vary the P to make it high. So this variety can give you up to 3.5 tons per hectare if you get your plant population and density well. So we are promoting this variety so that all soybean producing farmers can come to us and we have discussion with them and release this variety to them.
The reason why there is a challenge with harvesting is because the pod clearance, it's a major issue. If you are not careful, the machines that you use for harvesting, you will leave a lot of the pods in the field. And so we are breeding for varieties that has a very high pod clearance and then also non-shattering. If these are left on the field for more than 2 weeks, by the time you return, you will realize that all of them will be on the ground because it will shatter and you will lose everything. So the Tundana we are promoting is the one that has a very high pod clearance level. There are a lot of companies from other nations that are in for Tundana because the machines they have developed are able to fit into this pod clearance level. All the other varieties we have in the system, you realize that the podding will start from somewhere here. And then if there is a machine that is harvesting, you will lose a lot of these soybean in the field. And then also, in terms of yield, there is none in the system that is high yielding than Tundana. And so this one was released in the south here, but is able to do well across all the agroecological zones. And so we are promoting Tundana because of its yield, its pod clearance that favors mechanization, and then the non-shattering that will reduce the post-harvest losses that is always associated with soya bean. One major problem is that, like you see here, most of them are dried at the same time. And it's a major problem with all the legumes because they don't seem to mature at the same time. And when that happens, harvesting is always a manual. Because if you bring in any machine, it will harvest the matured and then the non-matured ones. But like you're seeing in the field, we have approximately about 90% of the plants in the field matured. So if you want to go into mechanization, we don't have a problem when we are introducing the Tundana to you as a large-scale farmer. And that is what we are presenting to you today.
You know, we have about three varieties here, comparing it with the existing variety, which is Nerica. The Nerica was the first upland to be released in Africa. So based on that, we also developed some. We have Ofosu, Sierra Ofosu, we have Kafasi, and we also have Cho. The good news about the upland is that when it comes to, you need a minimal amount of rainfall. And wherever we can plant our maize to harvest, the upland can be done there and harvest successfully. In one way or the other, we all eat rice. Gone are the days, our staple is no more rice. By now, it has shifted because of urbanization and other factors. Everybody eats rice in one form or another.
In the major season, from the weather, meteo, they said that we had
for Kumasi, or where we are, we had about 535 millimeters of rain. You see, so you need technologies that are resilient. You need technologies that can thrive in marginal areas. And therefore, if you say that you have technologies that are resilient, you need to show it. And this is evidence-based research. So as you can see, the first variety, you can all appreciate the yield compared to our improved materials. And I believe you can all smell the fragrance. Yes, so I need not to even talk about it.
So we are still here on the field for today's open day, the iREACH and then CORAF open day happening here at the CSIR, the Crops Research Institute, and the CSIR. And I'm joined by the coordinator, the one who is spearheading all of these projects, to find out how some of these projects particularly can get to our farmers, because they, I would say, they are the end of all of this. So Professor Emmanuel Otu is the coordinator for iREACH. Sir, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So generally, I've been to, I would say, almost every field here, and I've seen quite the amazing works they are doing, the researchers themselves are doing. Help us understand, first of all, why you decided to come up with this particular iREACH CORAF initiative, and how is this supposed to help the farmers?
Okay. It started with USAID, and they have been supporting a lot of projects in the sub-region. And then they realized that there aren't any linkages between the projects. And so with the help of CORAF, who is the technical wing of ECOWAS, try to have a unified approach to this technology development and dissemination. And then they form a body made up of experts. And they were to look at the technologies, look at the ready-to-go ones, and then bring it to a technology park. For the whole year, you can come here and then you can appreciate the technologies. And we have 33 technologies made up of yam, cassava, cocoyam, sweet potato, taro, maize, soybeans, and all that.
In fact, all the staples we have in Ghana.
Exactly. And so the idea is that when the open day is done, we will bring in the stakeholders. They will come and see, they will have dialogue with us and see the challenges that we can overcome for them to adopt them. So normally we do this with a bit of policy makers, advocacy, and then a technical section. This year we split it to two. We had a technical session 3 weeks ago where the farmers and other people came. They had a full time asking questions, appreciating the material, and then talking about the business. Today is about advocacy. And so we brought a bit of the top end for them to also appreciate what we have and let the people know what we have here and how best it can help us as a country. And I always say that, you see, when the COVID came, we had a lot of challenges. As a nation, all over the place there were challenges. But then the nations were collaborating. So we were able to import some solutions from other countries, and that helped a lot. But going forward, looking at the crisis all over the place, the wars and all those things, what it means is that that cooperation may not be there. And so each country should be self-sufficient. And this is a way of ensuring that we are self-sufficient at the family level, at the national level, at the global level. And that's why we brought the stakeholders here to appreciate what we have.
Okay. Now, you said you're having some 33 technologies around. I wanted to know, you brought in the farmers, government as well. How are engagement with the government ensured? Because just recently we had a dry spell up north, and farmers have lost almost their farmlands. If in case, I'm sure you started way earlier with this project, in case government had come on board to support or maybe use this technology, how would it have benefited?
That bit of the government, at least they pay our salaries, and then they also ensure that certain projects are available to us. So that cannot be overemphasized. It's very critical. And also, again, when they come and see what we are using, what they've given us to do, they appreciate it. And I will entreat them as a start off, quickly engage the research institutes to give them the needed seed material that they need to plant.
I have been speaking with Professor Emmanuel Otu. He is the coordinator for the iREACH initiative here at the Crops Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. And generally his concern has been that we should plan as a country to ensure that we have our food security. The government, any stakeholder at all, must invest in our agricultural space to ensure that our food security and we do not lose some of these indigeneity of our crops. I would say of all the fields we've visited, this stand is where I am much interested, where we process some of these raw materials into finished goods, because that's where we have to get to as a country, not just necessarily producing these raw materials for exports. So I want to understand, there are lots of them, it's lined up, but tell me about it. What do you have here?
Okay, over here we have the various crops that we are, the iREACH program is undertaking. We have sweet potato, we have rice, we have cassava. The cassava, we have different varieties. We have the yellow and then the white cassava. We have taro, we have yam, we have sweet potato, and we have turned them into various food forms. The snack, we have the bread, we have the breakfast, we have the drink, and so many stuff over here. And the interesting part is that what we are doing here, when you consider the rice, we have all the things that we have produced here from the rice juice, the rice bread, the rice cake. They were all produced from the very broken part of the rice. That's Ghanaian.
Same as waste or waste. You can use it for other products.
So we have volatilized it into flour. So this was processed into flour, and some of the flour has been used to produce 100% waffle from rice flour. And this is the high quality rice flour. The color, the appearance is very white, it's very nice, and it's tasty. And the other thing is that the secret of this over the wheat flour is that many people have issues. The celiac intolerant people, they have issue when they take the wheat flour. But when you take this rice flour, which is gluten free, it helps you. Instead of you constipating after consuming a wheat product, you are free to go when you take products without which are gluten free. So the interesting part is that the cake over here is 100% rice flour, which was made from the broken rice, not the whole rice that we consume. And the bread over here is made from 30% rice flour. So if policy is going to be, there's going to be a policy on that, it's going to help to reduce rice loss in terms of brokenness, and then it's also going to help to reduce importation, and we can also enjoy what we grow, and it can create job for the youth. So over here our hands are open. The youth can come in, and then we will teach them, and they can pick it up. And even the processors too can come, so that they will learn about the new innovative idea that crops research is undertaking.
Field for, as she rightly mentioned, the cakes and the waffles and the rest. But I'd wanted to see if I can taste it and then compare it with what I have. So what would you serve me with?
I'll serve you with 100% rice cake.
Okay, sure, that's fine. Okay. So we are trying to taste the cake, the 100% rice. If you are not careful, you might not even think it's from rice. The wheat flour itself is rice. This is not different from the rice.
On board. And since the media is here, please take the information out and call all of them. We are ready to help so that Ghana will move forward.
I'm wondering, are you sure this is not wheat flour?
No, please. It's 100% rice flour.
Oh, wow.
100% rice flour. It's not rice powder. It's 100% rice flour.
Okay. All right, sure. So I've been interacting with Madam Mrs. Faustina Oche, and this I have tasted is actually nice. I must tell you that it's really nice. You don't really see the difference between that of the wheat flour and also rice. So I'm hoping that this will get out there. We market it so much that people get to patronize, and then we solve our post-harvest losses with some of these products. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So we'll move on to the other fields and engage more with the people here.
More often than not, one of the setbacks along the value chain is a gap between technology development and the extension delivery. And it's been said sometimes or more often that our research are on the shelves. And so one way that we could do to ensure that our technologies get to the end users is to have this technology pack, apart from the demonstration fields that we have in the field days and farmer field schools we have with farmers. We established this demonstration pack at our institute here. And demonstration packs are otherwise also called the science or technology packs. And these are packs where ready to go or almost ready to go technologies are showcased or exhibited or demonstrated for end user to come to either continue to invest in our research efforts, or they can uptake those technologies also into their endeavors to help in their either farm production or in their business development. We are grateful to CORAF and the iREACH program for supporting this initiative together with the Food System Resilient program. And so this year, this is the third year that we are doing this. But this year, what is different from the earlier 2 years is that we realized that every year when it was one session, we have almost all the stakeholders in the agri-value chain together. And the farmers would usually feel intimidated when they were to come into the same room with the politician or the people who make all the big decisions. So this year we decided to separate the farmers from the policy people or the policy makers. So 2 years ago we met the farmers and the processors, and then we take them through this. And today is the session for the policy makers. So the last 2 weeks it was on technical issues, where we were more or less telling them what they need to do, what they need to take away, and then what, if they do, per our recommendations, will help in the improvement in their productivity. Today is on advocacy or policy direction. And we are expecting that after the policy makers have gone through all that we have here, the bottlenecks which relates to policy, which should pave way for technologies and innovations to be available to the end users, will be addressed, so that whatever challenges or difficulties that is affecting research or technology development and its dissemination or extension to the end users would be a bit easier for them to assess.
I think we need to do more. So sometimes we also are thinking much about government. We can do more besides government, and if we do more, government will also see the essence, because we see that what we are doing actually is for the total improvement of this country. But CSIR is doing a lot more, and many a time what they do is they are like the pro-poor organization. They are supposed to be doing for the poor and all that, and so when they do, people don't want to show appreciation in terms of money, and they need money to do this. Also, we also think that sometimes the Minister of Agri overshadows us. Yeah. because our technologies go to Ministry of Agri. I know most of them. And so when you think about, agri, they forget about CSIR. For some time, mentioning the word CSIR, by the time you finish mentioning, the farmer is gone. He has noticed. So they relate more to Ministry of Agri than us. I think government and Ministry of Agri and us should collaborate so much to expose their work they are doing. But they are doing fantastic work. As they are there, they are scientists, research scientists. They are not really marketers. They are not businessmen. So normally the thing is that when they do, somebody must do the off-taking. Okay. If we are to get ourselves involved in the others, we will lose focus in the other where what we are good at. But then we can have what we call model farms. So the science park idea that is being promoted even now is one of the concepts whereby you can have things that are being displayed, to show that these are workable solutions. So if you come and have a look at it, you can go and do this on your own. And then we can serve as sort of extension officers to what you do. Normally, many times when we have industries in this country, you find that they start very well and they collapse. You know why? Because many times people set up these, businessmen set up these, but they forget about the research component. In China and elsewhere, they don't do that. Whenever they have any entity, there's a small research component. So to make sure that what they are doing today, they are developing for tomorrow. So they are thinking ahead and ahead. But if you just set up your business and then you don't do research to improve upon it, after some few years, your material, your product become outdated. And that is the issue that we are having. Because your competitor will do a better thing, and then the market will flow towards him.
The scientists are coming up with beautiful technologies that would ensure that our country has food security. But what is more crucial is how policymakers and even governments can help adopt some of these technologies and make them available to our farmers to use on the various farms to ensure that the country has food security. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion here on the food chain. Join me same time next week for another exciting episode. My name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.